The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my office. "Emma, we need to talk about the baby shower," my sister Rachel said. No hello. No warmth. Just that tone she'd perfected over the past 3 years. The one that said she was doing me a favor by even calling. I set down my pen. "What about it?" "Jessica wants this to be elegant," Rachel continued. Her husband Mark's new practice administrator. The woman who'd somehow become the architect of every family gathering since Mark opened Riverside Medical Center 18 months ago. Having you there would just lower the tone. I let the words hang in the air for a moment. 5 years ago Rachel would have laughed at someone talking like this. 5 years ago we were close. But that was before Mark, before the medical practice, before my sister decided that upward mobility meant leaving certain people behind. "I see," I said calmly. "It's nothing personal, Emma. You know how it is. Mark's bringing in investors, potential board members. This shower is basically a networking event. And you're still in that little apartment driving that old car." She trailed off, letting the implication finish the sentence. Through my office window I could see the Chicago skyline. The little apartment she was referring to was actually a penthouse I'd bought under an LLC. The old car was a 2015 Honda Civic I kept because it was reliable and I didn't believe in flashy displays of wealth. But Rachel didn't know that. Nobody in my family did. "Mom agrees with me," Rachel added as if that settled it. She said it's probably better this way. "You know how you get at these fancy events. Uncomfortable, out of place. This way you won't feel bad." "Right," I said. "Wouldn't want me to feel bad. I knew you'd understand. You've always been so practical, Emma. That's what I love about you." Her voice brightened now that the unpleasant part was over. "We'll do lunch sometime just as sisters. Somewhere casual. Your kind of place." My kind of place. I wondered what she'd say if she knew I'd had lunch last week with the governor. That the casual place I'd suggested, a small Italian restaurant in Lincoln Park, I actually owned. "Congratulations on the baby, Rachel," I said. "Thanks. Oh, and Emma, don't mention this to anyone, okay? Jessica thinks some of the family might not understand. You know how Uncle Robert gets about family values and all that." I hung up and sat very still for a moment. Then I picked up my phone and texted David Chin, my charitable trust manager. "Withdraw all funding from Riverside Medical Center immediately. All pledges, all grants, all anonymous donations. Effective today." His response came in seconds. "The $3.9 million commitment? Are you sure?" "Completely sure," I typed back. "And David? Make sure they know the funding has been withdrawn. They don't need to know who it was from, but they should know it's gone." "Understood. I'll handle it personally." I set the phone down and returned to my reports. I had a foundation board meeting in an hour, and we were discussing a new scholarship program for first-generation college students. The kind of program that would have helped me back when I was working 3 jobs to put myself through Northwestern. My phone buzzed within 20 minutes. It was a number I didn't recognize, but the voicemail icon appeared immediately. I almost deleted it, but curiosity won. I pressed play. "Emma, this is Jessica Thornton from Riverside Medical Center." Her voice was clipped, professional, but I could hear the stress underneath. "I'm trying to reach you regarding a somewhat urgent administrative matter. If you could return my call at your earliest convenience, I'd greatly appreciate it." I didn't call back. 15 minutes later my phone rang again. "Wait, Emma. Oh my God, Emma, you need to help us." I put her on speaker and continued reading an investment proposal. "Help you with what?" "It's Mark's clinic. Someone just pulled their funding, like millions of dollars. The new pediatric wing, the equipment upgrades, everything. It's gone." Her voice climbed higher with each word. "Jessica's freaking out. She's calling everyone, trying to figure out who the donor was, but it was all anonymous and now they won't return calls and—" "Emma, are you even listening?" "I'm listening. We need money. Like, immediately. The construction company is threatening to walk. We have equipment on order that we can't pay for and Mark is losing his mind. Can you help?" I paused. "Help how?" "I don't know. Alone? Do you know anyone who might know anyone? You went to Northwestern, right? Don't you have some connections from school or something?" "My connections from school," I said slowly, "are people like me who worked their way through on scholarships and student loans. I'm not sure they have millions of dollars lying around. Right. Of course. I just thought. She sighed. God, this is such a disaster. Jessica said this donor was our anchor. Everything else was supposed to build on this. She's in Mark's office right now crying. That sounds difficult. Difficult? Emma, this could ruin Mark's career. The clinic could close. We have a baby coming. Her voice broke. I don't know what to do. For a moment, just a moment, I felt bad. Rachel was my sister. We'd shared a bedroom growing up, fought over clothes, covered for each other when we snuck out in high school. That history meant something. But then I remembered her voice on the phone earlier. Having you there would just lower the tone. I'm sure you'll figure something out, I said. You're resourceful. You've always been good at networking, right? Maybe Jessica knows some investors. We've tried. Everyone wants to see momentum, proof of concept, but without that initial funding. She stopped. Wait, why aren't you more surprised by this? Surprised by what? By me calling you about money problems. Usually. I don't know, you usually ask more questions. I closed the investment proposal. What would you like me to ask, Rachel? I don't know. Just, this doesn't feel like you. Maybe you don't know me as well as you think. Silence on the other end. Then, what's that supposed to mean? It means I have to go. I have a meeting. Emma, wait. I ended the call. The meeting was with the board of the Northwestern Scholarship Foundation, an organization I'd founded 5 years ago under a nonprofit umbrella that kept my name out of the paperwork. We'd put 234 first-generation students through college so far. Kids like I used to be, brilliant, hardworking, invisible to people like Jessica Thornton. My phone buzzed throughout the meeting. Rachel called 4 more times. Mom called twice. Even Dad, who barely used his cell phone, left a voicemail asking me to give your sister a call when you get a chance. I didn't listen to any of them. After the meeting, I stopped by my favorite coffee shop, a tiny place in Wicker Park that made the best cordido in the city. The owner, Maria, greeted me by name. The usual, she asked. Please. While she made my coffee, I checked my email. David had sent a detailed report on the withdrawal. Riverside Medical Center had been informed that their anonymous benefactor had redirected funds to other charitable priorities. Professional. Clean. Impossible to trace back to me. The clinic's administrator, Jessica, had apparently spent the afternoon calling every major foundation and donor network in Chicago, trying to identify the mystery benefactor. According to David's sources, she'd even hired a private consultant who specialized in donor relations. Good luck with that. You look pleased about something, Maria said, setting down my cordido. Just work stuff. Must be good work stuff. I smiled. Maria had no idea who I was beyond Emma, the quiet woman who tips well and likes cortados. She didn't know about the venture capital firm I'd built from nothing, the real estate portfolio, the charitable foundation. She just knew I was nice to her staff and always said thank you. That was the thing about real wealth, real success. It didn't need to announce itself. It didn't need baby showers with investors and board members to prove it existed. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I recognized. Mark, my brother-in-law. I answered. Hi, Mark. Emma, thank God. Listen, has Rachel talked to you? She mentioned something about the clinic. It's a nightmare. We're going to lose everything. The building lease, the equipment, probably half our staff. I've got patients scheduled for next month in a pediatric wing that might not exist. He sounded exhausted. I know this is a long shot, but Rachel said you went to a good school. Do you know anyone at all who might be interested in medical philanthropy? Why would I know people like that? I just thought, networking maybe? Or someone from your job. I work in consulting, Mark. Small projects, corporate clients. Not exactly the philanthropy crowd. That was technically true. My consulting firm did exist and it did handle corporate clients. It was also structured specifically to obscure the fact that I owned 17 other businesses and had a personal net worth that would make Mark's missing $3.9 million look like pocket change. Right. Of course. He sighed. I'm just grasping at straws here. Jessica keeps saying we must have done something to offend the donor, but we don't even know who they are. How do you apologize to a ghost? That does sound complicated. The worst part is we already spent some of the money, signed contracts based on the pledge. Now we're potentially liable for breach of contract on construction deals, Equipment orders. Emma, this could bankrupt us. I sipped my Cordidew. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Me too. Another pause. How are you doing anyway? We never really talk outside of family stuff. I'm fine. Busy. Still in that apartment in Lakeview? You should think about buying, you know. Interest rates are low right now and property values in Chicago are only going up. I could introduce you to our real estate agent. She specializes in starter condos. Our real estate agent. The one who'd probably help them find their house in Lincoln Park. The house that, according to public records I'd casually looked up once, they'd overpaid for by about 30%. I'll keep that in mind, I said. Cool. Well, if you think of anyone who might be able to help, let me know. We're running out of options fast. After we hung up, I finished my Cordidew and walked back to my office. The evening sun was painting the buildings gold, and the city hummed with its usual energy. I loved Chicago. Loved the mix of old money and new ambition, the way it rewarded hard work without caring where you came from. My assistant Priya was still at her desk when I arrived. You have 3 messages from a Rachel Morrison, she said. She says it's urgent. Family emergency. Not really an emergency, I said. Just drama. Priya grinned. Good drama or bad drama? Depends on your perspective. I went into my office and closed the door. My calendar showed back-to-back meetings for the rest of the week. A due diligence call with a potential acquisition target, a site visit to a new real estate development, dinner with a state senator who was interested in my thoughts on small business policy. None of these meetings would include my family. None of them would ever know that Emma the consultant was actually Emma Chin, founder and CEO of Chin Ventures, managing partner of Lakefront Property Group, and anonymous benefactor to 43 different charitable organizations across the Midwest. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Please call your sister. She's very upset. I typed back. I'm in meetings all evening. Maybe tomorrow. Another text, this time from Dad. Not sure what's going on, but Rachel needs family right now. Can you give her a call? I turned off my phone. The next morning I arrived at my office to find 7 new voicemails. I deleted them without listening. Priya intercepted me before I reached my office door. Your sister called 3 times already this morning. She sounds intense. I'm sure she does. She also called the main office line and tried to get your direct office number. I told her we don't give that out. Thank you. Inside my office I pulled up the news. A small business journal had picked up a story about Riverside Medical Center's funding crisis. The article was sympathetic but vague. Anonymous donor withdraws major pledge, citing strategic reallocation of charitable priorities. Jessica Thornton was quoted extensively, talking about the clinic's mission, their commitment to underserved communities, the pediatric wing that would now have to be delayed indefinitely. It was good PR actually. Made them look like victims of circumstances beyond their control. My phone, I turned it back on, rang. Rachel again. This time I answered. Finally. Emma, where have you been? I've been calling and calling. I've been working, Rachel. Some of us have jobs. She inhaled sharply. That's not fair. Isn't it? Emma, what is going on with you? You've been so weird since I called about the baby shower, and now you won't help with Mark's clinic and... Help how? I interrupted. What exactly do you want me to do? I don't know. Something. You're my sister. You're supposed to be there for me. The way you were there for me? The words came out colder than I'd intended. The way you included me in your elegant baby shower? Silence. Emma. Her voice changed. Are you seriously mad about that? I told you it wasn't personal. Right. It was just about maintaining the right tone for Jessica's networking event. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, Rachel. You uninvited me from celebrating your baby because you're embarrassed by me. Because I don't look successful enough to fit in with Mark's investor friends. I never said I was embarrassed. You didn't have to say it. Lower the tone. Your kind of place. You made it perfectly clear. Oh my God, you're being so sensitive. I was trying to spare your feelings. You always get uncomfortable at fancy events and I thought. You thought wrong. I stood up and walked to my window. You thought I was poor, unsuccessful, someone to be hidden away. You have no idea who I am or what I've accomplished because you've never bothered to ask. You just assumed. That's not, Emma, that's not fair. You never talk about your life. You're always so private. How am I supposed to know anything if you don't tell me? She had a point, actually. But she'd also never asked. I have to go, I said. Wait. Forget about the baby shower, okay? I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. But this thing with Mark's clinic, it's serious. We could lose everything. The house, our savings, everything we've built. Can't you please just what? Magically produce millions of dollars? Network with my non-existent rich friends? What exactly do you think I can do, Rachel? I don't know. He was crying now. I just need my sister to care. I need someone to tell me it's going to be okay. And there was. Under all the social climbing and the embarrassment and the Jessica Thornton networking events, my sister was scared. I almost softened. Almost. You'll figure it out, I said. You always do. You're very good at making connections with the right people, remember? I hung up before she could respond. The baby shower happened 3 weeks later. I knew because Mom called to tell me about it. It was beautiful, she said. Very elegant. Jessica really outdid herself with the planning. That's nice. Rachel asked about you. Did she? Emma. Mom sighed. I don't understand what's happening with you two. You used to be so close. People change. She's your sister. He's having a baby. Can't you just let it go? Whatever it is. Sure, Mom. I'll let it go. But I didn't let it go. I did something else instead. I called David Chin. That scholarship program we discussed, I said. The one for medical students from low-income backgrounds? Yes. Double it. And I want to add a new component. Grants for graduating medical students who commit to working in underserved communities for at least 5 years. That's generous. What's the budget? Let's start with $10 million. He whistled. That's a significant commitment. I know. Make sure the press release mentions that we're focusing on supporting medical professionals who demonstrate a commitment to community service over profit. Subtle. I thought so. The press release went out a week later. Several news outlets picked it up. Medical philanthropy was having a moment, apparently. One journalist even called me for a comment, though of course they didn't know I was the donor. Rachel called me that evening. Did you see the news about that big medical scholarship program? She sounded bitter. $10 million to help medical students. Can you believe that? Meanwhile, Mark's clinic can't get a dime. Maybe the donor cares about different things, I said. It's so unfair. Mark is literally trying to serve underserved communities. That's the whole point of the pediatric wing. But some anonymous billionaire decides he's not worthy. Maybe it's not about Mark at all. Then what's it about? Maybe it's about investing in people who haven't forgotten where they came from. She was quiet for a moment. That's a weird thing to say. Is it? Emma, are you okay? You've been acting really strange lately. I'm fine, Rachel. Better than fine, actually. Well, I'm glad someone is. She sighed. The baby shower was nice, by the way. In case you were wondering. I wasn't. Jessica kept talking about how important it is to surround yourself with successful people. How the company you keep determines your trajectory in life. Rachel laughed, but it sounded hollow. I guess that's true. Look where keeping the wrong company got Mark's clinic. I almost told her then. Almost explained that the wrong company she was trying to avoid, me with my little apartment and old car, was exactly the person who'd destroyed her husband's dreams. But I didn't. I have to go, I said instead. Congratulations again on the baby. Mark's clinic downsized significantly over the next 2 months. They had to let go of half their staff, cancel the pediatric wing entirely, and scale back their patient services. It didn't close. Mark managed to secure some smaller grants and private investments, but it would never be the prestigious medical center he'd envisioned. Jessica Thornton left after 3 months. She'd found a better opportunity at a hospital in New York, she said. One with more stable funding. Rachel had her baby in October. A girl. They named her Sophie. Mom sent me photos. She was beautiful, dark hair, Mark's nose, Rachel's eyes. I didn't visit the hospital. Rachel didn't ask me to. But I did do something else. I set up a trust fund in Sophie's name. $2 million invested conservatively to be accessed when she turned 18. Enough for college, graduate school, a down payment on a house. A safety net her parents would never be able to provide. The trust was anonymous, of course. The paperwork said only that it was from a family friend who wishes to remain private. David questioned me about it. After everything with the clinic? The baby didn't disinvite me, I said. She doesn't get punished for her parents' choices. You're kinder than I would be. I'm not kind, I said. I'm just practical. Sophie might grow up and realize that success isn't about who you exclude from your table. She might be different. And if she's not, then she'll have a good education and no excuse for ignorance. A year passed. Rachel and I exchanged occasional texts, birthday wishes, holiday greetings. Nothing substantial. Nothing real. Then on a Tuesday morning my assistant buzzed my office. There's a Rachel Morrison here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's important. I checked my calendar. I had 15 minutes before a conference call. Send her in. Rachel looked different. Tired. She'd lost the pregnancy weight, but there were shadows under her eyes and her clothes, while still nice, weren't the designer brands she used to wear. He stopped just inside my door looking around, taking in the corner office, the view, the art on the walls. Emma, she said finally. What is this? This is my office. Your office. He walked to the window. You can see the entire city from here. It's a nice view. She turned around slowly. What do you do? I told you. Consulting. Consultants don't have offices like this. Assistants don't call you Miss Chen. The nameplate on the building says Chen Ventures. Her voice was shaking. Emma, what the hell is going on? I could have lied. Could have come up with some explanation that would preserve the fiction I'd maintained for years. Instead I said, I'm a venture capitalist. I run an investment firm. I also own a real estate development company and serve on the boards of several charitable foundations. You're a... She sat down heavily in one of my guest chairs. How long? I started the firm 7 years ago. It took off about 5 years ago. 5 years. She was staring at me like I was a stranger. We had lunch 5 years ago. You were in that tiny apartment. I still have the apartment. I also have a penthouse in Gold Coast and a house in Lake Forest. But the Lakeview apartment is where I grew up wanting to live, so I kept it. The car is a good car. Reliable. I don't believe in waste. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. That's not, Emma, that's not fair. How were we supposed to know if you never said anything? You could have asked what I do. Showed interest in my life. Instead you assumed I was poor and unsuccessful because I didn't perform wealth the way you expected. The color drained from her face. The clinic. The funding that got pulled. I didn't confirm it. Didn't deny it. Oh my God. She stood up. It was you. You destroyed Mark's clinic. You ruined everything because I uninvited you from a baby shower. I withdrew my charitable support, I said calmly. From an institution run by people who believed surrounding themselves with successful people meant excluding anyone who didn't look the part. That's not the kind of medicine I want to fund. You're insane. You're actually insane. Do you know what you've done to us? Mark works 60-hour weeks now trying to keep that place afloat. We had to sell the house, move into a rental. I had to go back to work 3 months after Sophie was born. I'm sorry you had to go back to work, I said. That must be hard. Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't do that. Don't pretend to care. I do care, Rachel. About you, about Sophie. That's why I set up her trust fund. Her what? The anonymous trust fund Sophie received. $2 million for her education and future. That was me. Rachel's legs seemed to give out. She sat back down. But you... I don't understand. You're my sister. Sophie is my niece. Your choices don't erase that. I came around my desk and sat in the chair next to her. But Rachel, you need to understand something. You judged me based on appearances. You decided I wasn't good enough for your elegant party, your sophisticated friends, your new life. You never asked who I really was or what I'd accomplished. You just assumed. I didn't mean. You did mean it. You meant every word. Lower the tone. Your kind of place. You were embarrassed by me. Tears were streaming down her face now. I'm sorry. Emma, I'm so sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't change what you did. It doesn't change who you became. So what now? You've punished me enough? Got your revenge. I didn't do this for revenge, Rachel. I did it because I won't support institutions run by people who value appearances over character. If that hurt you, I paused. I'm not sorry for protecting my values. But I am sorry you got caught in the middle. She wiped her eyes. Can we fix this? Us. I don't know. Can we? I want to try. She looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. I've been an idiot. A shallow, materialistic idiot. And I almost lost the best person in my life because of it. Almost. Please, Emma. Please. I know I don't deserve it, but you're my sister. And I miss you. I was quiet for a long moment. Then I said, I miss you too. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was a start. We talked for an hour. I showed her pictures of the properties I'd developed, the businesses I'd invested in, the scholarship recipients who'd gone on to do amazing things. She showed me new photos of Sophie, told me about going back to work, about the smaller apartment that was actually cozier than the big house. When she left, she hugged me at the door. Thank you, she whispered. For Sophie's trust fund. For not completely destroying us. For this. You're welcome. Can I bring Sophie by sometime? I'd like her to know her aunt. I'd like that too. After she left, I sat in my office and looked out at the city. The Chicago skyline glittered in the afternoon sun, full of promise and second chances. My phone buzzed. Davidson. So your sister leaving the building. Everything okay? Yeah, I said. I think it might be. Does this mean you're reinstating the clinic's funding? Absolutely not, I said. But start looking into grant opportunities for medical professionals who serve low-income communities. Real ones with actual commitment to equity and inclusion. Mark can apply like everyone else. You're something else, you know that? I'm practical, I said. And I believe in second chances. For people anyway. Institutions have to earn it. That evening, I drove my reliable Honda Civic back to my Lakeview apartment. Tomorrow I had meetings at the penthouse, a site visit in Lake Forest, dinner with the mayor's task force on small business development. But tonight I ordered pizza from my favorite place down the street and watched TV in the apartment I'd always dreamed of living in. My phone lit up with a text from Rachel. Sophie said her first word today. Mama. Wish you could have been there. I smiled and typed back, next time. And for the first time in over a year I meant it.